Close your eyes for a moment. Think of the last conversation you had with another man about food. Was it about the best protein powder, the fastest way to grill a steak, or was it silent altogether? Now imagine a silent epidemic of factors so deeply woven into your daily life that it dictates your energy crashes, your foggy brain, your unpredictable moods, and even the quiet anxiety you can't quite name. It's not your job, your workout, or your relationships. It's what's on your fork, and the most damaging part? Men have been conditioned to never, ever talk about it. Today, we break that silence. Consider the typical male conversation about food. It orbits relentlessly around utility and externals. It's about grams of protein for repair, carbohydrates for fuel, calories in versus calories out for a desired physique. It's a transactional discussion about inputs and outputs, like debating the optimal octane for a car. But the car's internal diagnostics, the subtle knocks, the faint warning lights, the gradual loss of efficiency, these go unmentioned. This is the silence. We speak of food as it relates to the machine's appearance or horsepower, but we are deaf to the language of its internal systems. The first and most profound symptom of this hidden food factor is not a physical ailment. It is the very void where a critical conversation should be. From a young age, boys are subtly and overtly steered away from acknowledging food as anything more than fuel or reward. Discussing its deeper effects is often framed as frivolous, overly delicate, or emasculating. A boy complaining of a stomach ache from dairy might be told to tough it out. A man noticing he feels sluggish and irritable after a sugary breakfast might dismiss it as a bad night's sleep, never connecting the dots. This creates a fundamental disconnect between consumption and sensation. We are trained to override the body's feedback. The result is a collective blind spot, a vast reservoir of unshared data. Millions of men are privately experiencing the same post-laptop crashes, the same 3 p.m. mental fogs, the same restless nights after heavy meals, and the same vague inflammation that makes their joints feel older than they are. Yet they are navigating these experiences in isolation, believing it to be a personal failing or simply getting older. This silence normalizes dysfunction. It makes feeling mediocre the baseline, when the only sanctioned food talks are about grilling or hot sauce challenges. There is no vocabulary for the nuanced inner landscape that food directly governs. You would not ignore a strange noise from your engine if you cared about the car. Yet, we are encouraged to ignore the brain fog, the energy dips, the bloating, the mood swings, all direct communications from our biological core. This silence is a cultural artifact, a relic of an outdated masculinity that prizes stoic endurance over intelligent self-awareness. It serves no one but the industries selling quick fixes and processed solutions. Breaking this silence is not an act of weakness. It is the first radical step toward agency. It begins with a simple internal question, one we are never taught to ask. How does this truly make me feel? Not just on the tongue, but in the body, in the mind, an hour later, a day later. It requires moving the dialogue from the external plate to the internal self. This is where the hidden factor starts to lose its power when we give voice to the quiet day that our bodies have been reporting all along. Sharing that data, even with one other person, shatters the illusion of isolation. It transforms a personal struggle into a shared inquiry. That conversation might start with, I always feel terrible after I eat that, do you? That is the sound of the silence cracking. That is the moment we stop being passive consumers of food and start becoming active architects of our own vitality. The hidden factor thrives in the dark. Speaking its name, sharing its effects is how we turn on the light. Consider the prevailing image of masculinity. Steadfast, unwavering, a pillar of strength. We imagine our hormonal system to be the same, a static, robust entity defined by a single metric like testosterone. But this is a profound misunderstanding. Your endocrine system is not a blunt instrument. It is a vast, intricate, and exquisitely sensitive symphony. And the most powerful conductor of this symphony is not your willpower or your workout, but your fork. Every single meal, every snack, every drink is a command issued to this complex orchestra. It can either cue a harmonious performance of vitality, clarity, and resilience, or it can send a cacophony of conflicting signals that leave you feeling drained, foggy, and fundamentally out of tune. We fixate on hormones as independent actors, but they exist in a delicate, conversational balance. Think of insulin, the blood sugar maestro. When you consume a barrage of refined sugars and processed carbohydrates, the quick pasta lunch, the energy drink, the healthy granola bar, you are not simply giving your body fuel, you are screaming at your pancreas to release a flood of insulin to manage the glucose spike. This is not a gentle request, it is an emergency alarm. That sharp insulin surge does its job, often too well, plunging you into a reactive hypoglycemia, the infamous crash. But the fallout is systemic. This metabolic roller coaster directly signals your adrenal glands, the conductors of your stress response. They interpret this blood sugar plunge as a crisis, releasing cortisol, the primary stress hormone. Now, your body is in a low-grade fight-or-flight mode because of a muffin. Chronically elevated cortisol does not just make you feel anxious, it actively dismantles other hormonal functions. It tells your body to store visceral fat, the dangerous kind around your organs. It hijacks biochemical pathways to prioritize immediate survival, effectively stealing the raw materials needed to produce optimal levels of testosterone. You are literally cannibalizing your vitality hormone to manage a sugar crisis you created at breakfast. Furthermore, this hidden food factor operates through the language of inflammation. The modern dietary staples for many men, industrial seed oils, deep fried foods, processed meat, are laden with pro-inflammatory fats. This inflammation is like static on the hormonal communication lines. It can make your cells resistant to the gentle knock of insulin, forcing your body to produce even more, exacerbating the cycle. It disrupts the conversion of thyroid hormones into their active form, slowing your entire metabolic engine to a crawl, making you tired and cold. It even influences enzymes that regulate estrogen balance. This is critical. Men produce and need estrogen in precise amounts for brain health, bone density, and libido. A diet high in processed foods and alcohol, coupled with excess body fat, can elevate estrogen activity, further tilting the hormonal scale away from robust, sustained energy and toward fat storage and fatigue. The symphony is always playing. When you choose a plate of brightly colored vegetables, quality protein, and healthy fats, you are conducting a different piece entirely. You are providing steady, sustained energy that allows insulin to work with gentle, rhythmic efficiency. You are supplying the antioxidants and phytonutrients that quell inflammatory static, allowing every hormonal signal, from leptin that tells you you're full to ghrelin that tells you you're hungry, to dopamine that gives you focus and drive, to be heard with crystal clarity. You are giving your body the building blocks to synthesize hormones properly and the stable environment in which they can perform. The choice is never between affecting your hormones or not. The choice is only what kind of conductor you will be. Will you stand before this magnificent, life-sustaining orchestra and lead with chaos with the jarring, discordant notes of processed food? Or will you learn the score, pick up the baton of conscious nourishment, and cue a masterpiece of well-being? The music you hear in your body, the energy, the mood, the focus, is simply the echo of your last command. This silence, then, is where our journey must begin and end. We have pulled back the curtain on the hidden food factor, revealing it not as a singular ingredient or a forbidden food, but as the vast, unspoken narrative that separates what men eat from how they truly feel and function. It is the gulf between consumption and consciousness. We have traced its path through the enforced quiet that normalizes daily fatigue, into the hormonal symphony where every bite directs the music of your mood and energy, down to the gut where your Dietary choices literally craft your state of mind. We have named its disguises in emotional eating and felt its weight in social pressure. We have seen its cumulative toll as a quiet leak on your longevity. To acknowledge this factor is to fundamentally change your relationship with food from one of utility, or escape to one of dialogue and profound self-respect. Therefore, the task before you is not to adopt a rigid diet or another set of restrictive rules. That would merely be another form of silent, solitary suffering. The task is to become a translator for your own body. It is to transform that internal data. The crash, the fog, the bloat, the irritability from vague complaints into precise intelligence. It is to recognize that choosing roasted vegetables and salmon over a fried meal is not just a healthier choice, but a clear, harmonic command to your endocrine system. It is to understand that prioritizing fiber is not about digestion alone. It is about directly feeding the microbiome that produces your resilience and calm. This is a move from passive consumption to active, empowered creation. You are no longer just eating. You are programming, you are conducting, you are building your biological foundation from the ground up. This new path demands a redefinition of strength. True strength is not the stoic endurance of dysfunction. It is not powering through another day of brain fog or accepting irritability as your default setting. Authentic strength is the courage to pay attention. It is the confidence to opt out of the social food pressure that no longer serves you, and in doing so, give other men permission to do the same. It is the wisdom to see your plate as the most powerful, accessible tool for preventative medicine you will ever own. This is a holistic, sustainable strength that radiates from stable energy, from mental clarity, from emotional balance, and from the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are listening to and actively caring for the most fundamental systems of your life. So let this be the end of the silent meal. Let your first act be one of simple, revolutionary observation. Start the conversation with yourself and then with another. Ask, how does this really make me feel? Share what you notice. In that simple question, you dismantle decades of conditioning. You begin to eat with intention, not just habit. You begin to nourish not just a body, but a life. The hidden factor loses all its power the moment you bring it into the light of your awareness. This is your invitation to step into that light, to turn your nourishment into your deepest source of vitality, and to finally speak the truth that has been waiting on the tip of your tongue and in the heart of your body for far too long. The conversation starts now. Your fork is your microphone. It's time to speak. The time, attention, and intellectual energy you've invested in reviewing these materials is the essential first step. This isn't just about transmitting information. It's about laying the groundwork for a shared understanding and a unified mission. The frameworks and commands provided are tools, but their power is unlocked by your discernment and application. Your role in executing on this is invaluable. Consider this not an end, but a strategic handoff. You now have the blueprint and the necessary directives. The next phase, implementation, adaptation, and results, rests in your capable hands. I have every confidence in your ability to translate these instructions into effective action. I am stepping back now, trusting in the process we've outlined and in your expertise to carry it forward. This concludes my active uploads and directives on this matter. Should critical, unforeseen questions arise that the provided materials cannot address, know that a channel for essential clarification remains open. Until then, I wish you tremendous success. Move forward with clarity and purpose. All the best.